Duane Duggan, Remax of Boulder Video Podcast. Today we're honored to have a guest by the name of Allison Akhnoukh. The reason she's here is she has a company called Ignite Learning. Ignite Learning is a company that helps families make decisions about schools when they come to town. So I thought it was more than appropriate to have her on our podcast today. So Allison, thanks for being here.
Great to be here.
So can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what Ignite Learn does?
Yeah, sure. So Ignite Learning, we help families find best fit schools for their families and for their kids, and really work and make sure that it's grounded in the kids and the whole family in terms of the priorities. And we also work with families and students around out-of-school learning opportunities. You know, one thing we don't realize is that kids are actually only in school about 25% of their time. And so we do a lot of support for families around after-school activities, summer learning, camps, things like that.
Okay, having been a realtor for 40 years, I'm so excited to have Allison here just because I think of all the time and effort I've invested in checking out schools for clients, and now to have somebody like Allison to refer my clients to do all the work, it's actually amazing. I'm very excited about it. So anyway, Allison, where do you cover? I mean, do you cover all of Colorado, or do you narrow down a little more than that?
No, I'm really trying to focus locally, Boulder Valley School District primarily, and I'll also support families in St.Vrain as well.
Okay, and so a family comes to town and they're working with the realtor and they want to check out the schools. Why do they hire you, and what do you do for them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, primarily, it's if somebody's facing a decision point. A lot of times people are happy with their neighborhood school, and that's great, but if they aren't sure that they are, or if they don't yet own a house and they're trying to figure out where they want to buy their house, that's when I can step in and really help them think about that. A lot of times there may be multiple kids in the family, and there's sort of this confusion and complexity about, well, geez, we don't know where we want to buy our house because of all the different, tensions in that decision process. I can kind of help come in and help with the school factor of that decision process.
Can you tell me a little bit about the speed of what you do? Because oftentimes, like if you have somebody new to town, they write a contract, and it might be conditional upon inspection of the property, maybe conditional upon them being happy with the schools. How long does it take for you to, I guess, do you put together a report, or what do you do, and how long does it take?
Good question. I mean, it a little bit depends on the family and kind of how intensively they want to go into it. I mean, sometimes they just have very technical, tactical questions. How many kids go to this school? Do they have these extracurriculars? Those are just very simple questions that I can usually answer in a day, and they're done. And, you don't even need to pay me for those kinds of questions. I've got a lot of those resources just on my website.
Okay. It's kind of funny that you mention that, because I look back on my career, and I remember one family that chose a school because they taught Russian at the school, and another family that stands out in my mind, they chose it because of the quality of the baseball team, because their kids were athletic. So it is amazing what people choose schools for that you really may not think of on a day-to-day basis.
Right.
So do people sometimes come to you right when they get to town before they write a contract, or how will they find you to know that you exist, that you can provide this service?
Yeah, and sometimes I've even talked to families before they come to town, because if you do want that more qualitative, substantive support where it's me trying to get to know your child and their needs and their interests, that is going to take a bit more time. And then ideally, I always recommend that families, if possible, are out visiting schools on their own. I can tell you as much as I can, but ultimately you want to get inside a school. I always say don't judge a book by its cover. Sometimes a beautiful building is not going to look and feel like you want it to on the inside. So if you want that qualitative experience, if possible, if I can get in touch with the family, and I'll do virtual consultations ahead of time with families. So, it can take a couple of weeks or even longer. So as soon as we can get in touch, the better, because like you said, there are so many other factors in the transaction.
Now, you mentioned the word needs, and that just made me think of special needs. I think that's part of your service too, as a family comes in town with a special needs child, that you've got the expertise to help find the best spot for that child too, right?
Yep. To the extent that there are supports and extra, we've got a couple of schools in town that serve certain niches of special education. Oftentimes the district has some of the best services for special education students, particularly with extreme needs, but I can certainly help provide that guidance and navigation around special needs.
Gotcha. I know one of the things over the years that's come across my plate a lot is the topic of open enrollment, because oftentimes somebody comes in with the idea they want to be in one particular school, and they love the house, and of course is not in that school district. So I understand that you're pretty much an expert on open enrollment too, right?
Well, yes. I know, dates, unfortunately, are a big factor in that.
Right.
And oftentimes people move to town thinking, well, I want to be here when the school year starts. The unfortunate part is open enrollment happens the fall before. Deadlines are in January. So, yes, I can help families navigate that. I know sort of when it happens, how big wait lists are at certain schools. It's not always what people want to hear, because sometimes the schools that people want to get into have wait lists and we've missed the timeline for the upcoming year, but I do have all those facts and can help families navigate it. And every year is different. I like to call it the learning journey. So you may move into a house and you may be late for this year's open enrollment, but hey, let's go through it again next year.
Right. This is all so exciting just to have this opportunity. So I know you have a lot of information on your website that can help people.
Yep.
But can you tell us a little bit about like what you offer people like through your website and such compared to when they need to hire you to do what you do?
Yeah, so all the factual information, how many kids are at this school. I've got links to places like greatschools.org. If you're not familiar with that, it's got tons of reviews, all the test scores. On test scores, I always say look at growth scores, not the absolute scores. That's another topic we can talk about on another day. But all that type of stuff you can get on my website. If you want to talk about your individual child, their needs, their interests, their passions, that's the stage at which you'll want to hire me, because that's a one-on-one. It's like going to a therapist. You really want to have that direct consultation.
Okay, perfect. For people to get more information, how do they find that information on the web?
Just go straight to my website. It's IgniteLearn, IGNITE Learn.com. That's where you can find all these resources that I've referenced and then ways to reach me directly.
Perfect. Allison, thank you for being here
Yeah,
today.
thanks so
Wealth
much,
of
Duane.
information that I know
Great.
the public will appreciate.
Super.
So, Duane Duggan, Remax Boulder Video Podcast, signing off.